All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 420 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I'm VF Baller, and over here we talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. Putting some Georgia Southern stuff on the back burner because we got some interesting news today, which we kind of saw coming, but I'm going to add more to this because, look, everybody, to an extent, we all been wrong sometimes, and I can't remember everything that I said about this issue, but I feel like I owe a few people an apology because I kind of lean towards a take on this and I want to correct some things and give you my opinions on them. So if this is your first time here, welcome. This is the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Like I said, we talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. I am on Anchor and Stitcher. I'm on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. I'm also on YouTube and Rumble if you want to watch the podcast. So all those avenues are there. Also, I don't think I mentioned this, but I do have a Patreon as well where you get an extra episode once a week. I'm back to doing that again. I had to take off a little bit because I was a little overwhelmed. But for you guys that are on Patreon, you get the extra episode once again. I just did one recently about Marcel Ozuna. I think that's his name. I can't remember. Anyway, I did one about Ozuna. Hopefully you guys can go and check that out if you want to donate and become a patron. And I have some other stuff down the road. But enough about all that. Forget all that. Let's go ahead and get into this topic right here. Linebacker Deion Jones is now off the physically unable to perform list after rehabbing his offseason shoulder surgery. Look like he's going to be around for a while. I know we're talking about some rumblings about him possibly being traded. I kind of lean towards that as well. I also said I can understand why he'll be traded because he doesn't fit what the Falcons are doing. After watching the games, these last two preseason games, I can sit here and tell you that I'm wrong. I don't know if I 100% committed to that, but if I did, I'll own up to it because I've said a lot of things. There's some things I cannot remember. There's some things that I said, but this is one of them. And if I did, I want to apologize because when I see how this defense is ran in that front seven, Deion Jones may be slightly undersized for the other linebackers, but he's more than capable of doing everything that is asked of him with this defense. I've seen some exotic blitzes. I've seen them get at the quarterback. I've seen them actually do a little bit of coverage in the linebacker position. Deion Jones does all of that. The only thing that was a knock, and I heard some other people say this as well, that he may be a little bit undersized, but after racking up over 100 tackles, over 130 tackles last year, I think he's going to be fine. Now, what does this mean, though? What does this really mean? And I'm going to get into that, what it really means, but I really want to continue to talk about Deion Jones for a second. Deion Jones is a very athletic linebacker. He can do a little bit of everything. He can cover, he can tackle, he can catch. I think this is the last season was the first season that he didn't have an interception, which is actually pretty cool for a linebacker because he has played 6 seasons and he actually racked up over 100 tackles in 5 of his 6 seasons. So Deion Jones, even though that the defense was kind of like in limbo, just learning the new system and all this good stuff. Deion Jones and pretty much him and Foye Oluokun was able to do the best they can for the linebacker corps. And now you have so much more people that's going to be lined up with Deion Jones and company. It's just going to be a really good look. I mean, you got Rashaan Evans, you have Kielkowski, you got Michael Walker. You got so many guys that is going to, Troy Anderson is another one. You got so many guys that are going to be there to actually rotate in and out. And it's something that we may need to, look into overall because now this is one thing I was talking about that I wanted to talk about. It's going to be somewhat of a flooded linebacker situation. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be kind of flooded. You're going to have a lot of guys at that middle linebacker spot. I think I said Michael Walker's another one, right? You got a lot of guys, like 4 or 5 guys there in the middle linebacker situation, and it's somewhat of a multiple style defense. You're going to be rotating guys in and out, but we also have to understand we got 27 guys that's going to be getting cut. You know what I'm saying? 27 guys going to be cut by next week. And since Deion Jones is going to be practicing with the team now, he's probably going to be playing against the Jaguars. I don't see, now that's one thing I will say. I did talk about trade talks, but I don't see Deion Jones getting, cut. Absolutely not. I don't see that at all. So now what happens to a couple of these linebackers? You know what I'm saying? These middle linebackers that we have, we got what? I just named off 5. You got Rashad Evans, which I think he's going to have a spot. Troy Anderson, he was drafted. I think he has a spot. Michael Walker, I think he has a spot too. Then you have Deion Jones and Kwiatkowski. Kwiatkowski might be the odd man out, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Because you got all these. I don't see them carrying all of these linebackers once the 53-man roster is complete. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it when you got that many middle linebackers. I can see at least one person being cut, at least, from the middle linebacker situation. And another thing that I don't want to talk about right now, but I will say this really quickly. I don't see them holding on to that many running backs as well, because we got almost 6. I don't want to get into that, but I think we got 5 or 6 running backs as well. I don't think we're going to hold on to that many running backs. So this linebacker and running back situation could be something I'm not going to say necessarily a surprise, because we just have too many and we are at 80 on the roster. We got to get down to 53. You're looking at 27 guys getting cut. That's a lot of folks right there. That's not, and you're going to say the linebackers aren't going to be touched. The running back's not going to be touched. But I know Deion Jones is not going to be one of them. So I'm not really worried about that. The person I don't want to mention from the AJC, I don't have nothing against him. I just think he's really negative. But he did put out a tweet saying that he didn't hear any talks about Deion Jones getting traded or anything like that. So that's a good thing. So we didn't get any of that, anything of that nature. So we should be good money on that end. But what does this mean for Deion Jones? I think Deion Jones him and Rashaan Evans, as of right now, I see those two guys probably going to be on the field, pretty much for the most part, 80%, percent of the snaps at least. Rashaan Evans basically is going to be Foye Oluokun, or you're probably going to have Deion Jones as played the role of Foye Oluokun, while Rashaan Evans is going to take the role of what Deion Jones was. Now, you got to also remember now, even though Deion Jones been here for 6 seasons, he doesn't know Deen Pees' defense. I would think, now I don't know, now I definitely could be corrected on this. I think Rashaan Evans might know the defense a little bit better than Deion Jones, so them two may swap. What does this mean? That's not necessarily a bad thing for either player. It's just whatever suits what. And I know Deen Pees loves Rashaan Evans. He loves him. And he's so happy that he's on the team. And I would not be surprised if it works out that way, where those two roles are flipped, where Foye Oluokun is basically going to be, let me say that the other way around. Deion Jones could be what Foye Oluokun was for the team. Now, you also have to understand, we do have some outside linebackers that probably will be able to fill that role. So you just don't know. Now, on top of that, you just got guys that are being mixed around and being multiple players at different positions. You're going to see guys being blitzed from every corner in every part of the field. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see all these guys that are inside linebackers probably on the field at one time. That's just how Deen Pees like to do stuff like that at times. Depends on the situation. So when you look at a guy like Lorenzo Carter, or even with Ebiketie, Troy Anderson, Nate Landman, which, Nate Landman has come a long way, but we still got 27 guys that need to be cut. I'm just saying. But when you have these guys who could play that position and move around, it's just going to be really interesting to see how the linebackers collectively actually move around and play. We already seen it in the first 2 preseason games. The front 7, hell, even the defensive line actually looks pretty good. You have to understand, they created pressure throughout the Jets game. They created pressure in the Lions game. Now we play against the Jaguars. Can we match that? I think we can. So this is something that, with Deion Jones coming back is definitely a plus at the end of the day. And knowing what we know now, it's not cut and dry. I'll be honest with you, I don't think it was ever cut and dry for Deion to be moved on. It sounded good when you got all these other linebackers being signed or whatever, but we also have to understand that they come in and try out to see if they can make a difference on the team. And you also have to realize that the team was almost 100 players at one time, and it has to be cut down to 53. So even though some guys do get signed, that doesn't mean they're going to stay on the team. Look what happened to Auden Tate. Look what happened to Geronimo Allison. You see what I'm saying? So also you got to understand, look at these other running backs that we have. And I really didn't want to talk about the running backs too much, but when you have 3-4 decent running backs, maybe 5 or 6 that we have, 27 guys got to be cut. So it's something to think about. Deion Jones is one of these guys that's not going to get cut. I don't see that. And for all intents and purposes, based on what I said earlier, it looks like Deion Jones is not going to be traded either. So this is going to be a really good look overall for the team. Now, since we've seen what this team is doing defensively, this plays right into Deion Jones' hands. Shout out to Wallace, the guy that usually be in the comment section of YouTube. He's one of the biggest proponents for Deion Jones, and I don't know if if he hears this, that'd be great. But he was one of the guys that really said that Deion Jones works out for this defense. And I just sat back and was a little bit skeptical. I wasn't on board. I wasn't on the train to say get rid of him. But I try to look at it from a standpoint like, okay, this is off season. Linebackers are being signed. I don't know what's going to happen. Is it possible to get rid of some of that some of that cap money? Get some extra cap money for trading him? This is some of the things I was thinking about. So I was looking into it, but I was never really like a big advocate saying, okay, I think he's going to be traded. Wasn't a big advocate saying that he's going to be traded. The thought did cross my mind though. But nevertheless, we're looking at a situation here where Deion Jones is coming back, or he's back. He's been practicing with the team. Looks like he's going to play a little bit against the Jaguars. And knowing what we know now, that front 7, the way they roll and how it's moving and shaking, I think he fits very well with the defense. I think he's going to be probably, and we know how Troy Anderson is, but I think he's going to be the best hybrid linebacker that we have because he could play anywhere, and I think he's going to be probably one of the bigger assets. I think Rashaan Evans is probably going to take that role as the top guy at linebacker, but make no mistake, I feel like Deion Jones is going to be the guy that's going to be doing the most things on that, with the linebacker. So don't sleep on Michael Walker either, because Michael Walker is almost as athletic, if not, as athletic as Deion Jones, but we'll see how that plays out. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Deion Jones is back. What you guys think? Let me know what you guys thinking in the comment section. Give me some feedback. I can be found on Twitter at VFBaller. You can follow me over there. Also, I'm on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts, on YouTube and Rumble. And I have a Patreon as well. All the links will be down. You can check that out if you want to support. And it's just a great thing. It's just a great thing. Football season is almost officially under wraps, officially starting when the season starts. But, preseason is still football, right? So it's all good. All right, everybody. You guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I got to get up and get on this grind. So hopefully I'll see you guys on Friday. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy. And y'all definitely be blessed. Peace.